You know what I mean? You're gonna lay in the bed you make. You're not gonna get away with nothing in terms of the energy. You know what I mean? You might beat the camera or the police. They might not catch you for what you're doing, but the energy is always gonna return to you. So when you just living in this cycle of being negative all day and just putting out negativity and that's the only energy you putting out, it's gonna return to you in different form than you put it out in. So I would just say, master your energy. Do your best to master your energy and what you put out, and unless that's what you want, because you entitled to whatever you want to create, whatever experience you want to create for yourself.
Welcome to the night section. All legends die young, whether in spirit or in earth years. It seems that legends always perish when they're just at the brink of success, always leaving us to feel that they were meant to accomplish more. At least that's the way that I felt when Nipsey passed back in 2019. I mean, he was only 33 years old, left a family behind, dropped his debut album, and was finally crossing over to the mainstream after years of being an independent artist. Now, what does this mean? In the physical sense, death is part of life's natural progression. We all have to go some way or another, and death doesn't discriminate. It doesn't matter your age, social status, or even health. But what does that feeling mean? Because we hear about people dying every day and we might be upset about it, but some deaths just hit a part of your soul that is hard to describe. It's a certain energy about it, something intangible about it that you can't quite put into words, but it's there. And this is where we get a taste on the secret code that I think a lot of people have missed. But before we get into it, please be sure to leave a like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the notification bell if you want to see more content like this. Now, Nipsey Hussle was a unique character. The Slauson boy from Crenshaw, California, a reformed gangbanger, but he wasn't like the stereotypical gangster rappers that the media tends to portray. Nipsey was a thought leader in a lot of ways and impressed the masses with his entrepreneurial mind, humility, and wisdom. He had an energy about him that transcended his circumstances and was really out of this world, similar to a Tupac, and where some might say he was even a prophet. But the secret code that Nipsey Hussle had, that intangible feeling that I described earlier, was his spirit and the message he preached and lived by. But one of those things that I'm referring to more specifically is the law of attraction. Now, regardless of what your beliefs are, we all know fundamentally some of the basic laws in science. Like 1, what goes up must come down. And 2, if an object doesn't have any force applied towards it, it will stay in the same place. But what's interesting about my very simplified version of 2 of Newton's laws is that these are applicable to our everyday lives and what goes on all around us. At a certain point in time, Elvis was the biggest artist in the world. Now he's not. I mean, to put it simply, he was up and then eventually had a decline. A more everyday example is you not cleaning your room. I mean, if you don't move around, pick up objects, or exert any force, your room will remain in the same state that it's in, which is probably messy. As you guys can see, that these laws are really the laws of the universe in some sense, always working whether we are conscious of it or not. But the law I really wanted to focus on is Newton's 3rd law of action and reaction, which states, quote, that for every action or force in nature, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Again, which can relate to our everyday lives, at least in my opinion. Everything that you do will create a response in the universe. Even staying idle will create a response. For example, if you have a dream and you're working towards it, the whole universe will conspire to make that dream come true because of the deliberate actions that you're taking. It might not happen when you want it, but if you keep going and never quit, there is bound to be some sort of result, or rather reaction, to those actions. And this correlates, at least in my opinion, directly towards the law of attraction. And for those of you guys who aren't familiar with the law of attraction, it is considered a pseudoscience, meaning that it's basically a belief not supported by any scientific evidence. And that's also a disclaimer for you guys watching, so you're not taking everything I say as gospel. But essentially, it's the belief, at least from my own interpretation, that what you think about becomes reality. So whether that is positive or negative, it will project outward into the physical realm, because thoughts are things. Nothing on this earth was created without first having a thought. Now, a lot of people have taken this to the extremes, especially after the popularity of the book The Secret, and think that they can't ever think negative thoughts or think that just by thinking things, they will become a millionaire or just out of the blue, quote unquote, manifest what they desire. My personal opinion, however, is that the law of attraction is basically having a foresight into what you can become and having that belief inside of you while carrying out a tangible plan to see that through until that happens. And the byproduct of that is you becoming the person or having the things that you desire, which is common sense because, as an example, if you want to become a famous musician, you have to do what famous musicians do, like record and write. The idea is to essentially become the person you want to be by doing the things that a person in that position does. And Nipsey Hussle not only exemplified that through his actions, but also spoke on this and how the law of attraction has worked in his life in multiple interviews. He might not have said the terms law of attraction, but if you paid attention, you can hear how he actually describes how it's worked in his life.
Yeah, man.
Get it?
Nah, but that one thing I noticed about myself when I like, I think, you know, thoughts is powerful in all facets. Cause even my career, even my life, you know, things end up turning out exactly how I visualized them. Not in this time frame I expected. You know what I'm saying? You always want shit to happen overnight. But, you know, I just had clear visions. You know, obviously outside of my girl, I just mean in music and hustling and just how I viewed myself as an adult when I was a young dude coming up. And your thoughts powerful. That shit, you know, come to life if you stick to your script. And,
Amen.
And, you know what I'm saying, honey?
As you guys heard in the clip, he mentions that thoughts are powerful. And when he visualized things in the future, they happen exactly the way that he visualized them. Again, it may not happen in the time frame that you want it to happen, but it does happen when consistent effort is put forth. And what's interesting about this is that Nipsey Hussle, if you paid attention to his interviews, he always mentions that he, quote, sticks to the script. In other words, when he has a goal, he writes it down and exactly how he's going to get there and sticks by those steps as if it's law. And this directly ties into his entire brand, the marathon. Not only do you stick to the plan, you have to stick to the plan for the long haul, because the first step is one, believing these things are possible, which is the visualization part of it all. Then two is the execution, setting those goals and then actually acting on those goals. Then three, which I think is actually the most important step that a lot of people downplay, but it's the endurance and patience. And let me expand on that for you guys a bit. The third step is the hardest part: to endure, to delay gratification, to sacrifice, to work without the immediate reciprocation of those efforts, to plant seeds not knowing if these seeds will be fruitful one day. But it's absolutely necessary if you want to lead a life of a Nipsey Hussle in this case, where you leave a legacy behind. Nipsey also shows that the law of attraction is real through his music. As most fans know, that in a lot of his early music, he spoke things into existence which manifested over a decade later, and even speaks of those manifestations coming true in lyrics like in the song Victory Lap, where he says, quote, spoke some things into the universe and they appeared. I say it's worth it, I won't say it's fair, find your purpose or you wasting air. End quote. Not to mention him literally manifesting Lauren London to be his girl and speaking that into existence as well. This was the secret code of Nipsey Hussle that you might have missed. Night Section.